What up, family? This your girl Krista from the Black Economic Exchange Group. Happy Sunday, guys. I hope you guys are doing wonderful. I wanted to talk about what my experience was yesterday and how impactful it had and all the connections that it entails. Um, I had went to visit. I didn't know I was actually going to be speaking, but I went to go visit NAN, and those people that don't know what NAN is, it's the National Action Network. I'm in Detroit. It's part of Al Sharpton's organization that was created, and they've done a lot of great works with the protesting and things that are coming in our community that they're fighting for. And a lot of the community leaders that were there were very impactful in my life. And I met a few of them when they had the history tour where we were driving throughout the city seeing landmarks that were during Black History Month. And I met Lori Parks, Miss Thelma. I forget her last name, and then Mother Helen Moore. I like to pass out when I saw Mother Helen Moore up there speaking because I know what she has done and I know she's a fighter for our community. And of course, Sam Riddle, just some icons all in one room. And the thing that they were talking about is that they're trying to really dummy down our youth. And it's so important that we need to bridge this gap between young people and old people. And it's like the same thing that happened when we were younger. Some of the people gave up on us. You know, they thought we was a hopeless generation, a lost generation. And now it seems like now that our generation is getting older, that same scenario is happening again. One thing is certain that we do need to bridge that gap between the older people and the younger people. I'm getting older. I'm like the in between. I'm 50 now, so I'm getting older, and we have a lot of knowledge that we need to pass on to these youth, or the knowledge that these people have, our elders and our seniors, they're going to die with them, and despite young people not wanting their help, they're still fighting for you. It's really important to go to different meetings like this to be involved in and to know what's going on because we don't have a 9, 10 a.m. superstation anymore. We don't have that knowledge. And even then, a lot of young people really wasn't listening to it. Um, thereby, I'm kind of, I like the young generations, but then I don't because sometimes I guess we were all like that. You could never tell us nothing, you know and the young generation blames the older generation for civil rights and life and all of that. You have to understand, the civil rights movement had a cause and an effect. If it was not for the children, I call them the children of the civil rights movement. If it was not for the children of the civil rights movement, we wouldn't have certain qualities. We still not free. Let's keep it 100. They just realized we were more valuable going into their stores and spending money and monopolizing us and manipulating us and not remembering that we kept money in our own community, and we're not doing that anymore. And we have to teach our children what they went through. We have to talk to our elders what they went through and experience. One thing for certain for me as a child, I used to always want to know everything. I wanted to know how they felt at that moment, what they thought, I even wanted to know where my mother was at when Malcolm X was killed. I wanted to know where my parents were when Martin Luther King was killed. I wanted to know how they felt. What was the emotion? How did they feel that they had to go in back of a building and go watch a movie that they paid the same amount for to go on the balcony because they weren't allowed to be downstairs? I wanted to know that. And these young people, we take for granted the things that not Detroit had a lot of discrimination, true. But if your family was from the South, they had it bad. My dad always told me he he was called the N word so many times he thought that was actually his name. And I tell y'all this story about my dad. My dad was a little boy. Imagine a little boy. He had to be 8 or 10, where he was in Wheeling, West Virginia. He went to a Catholic school there, and some boys, teenage white boys, decided, hey, let's let's tie them up and let's see how they act on fire, because they done seen it. They seen it from their parents, so they wanted to know for themselves how it would be like to set a child on fire, a black person, the N word. So two of the boys got away. The other two, my dad was one of them, got caught. So they got ready to tie him up, and they doused it with fire. Imagine that little boy being traumatized. My dad is only 79 years old. This happened 70 years ago. It's not even been 100 years ago. And before they could light the match, luckily the police was on their side for this time in racist South, and saved my father's life. But it gave an everlasting trauma and effect on my dad the rest of his life, that he was not going to take anything from white people. Not to say all white people are bad, but the racist white people. And we have to know this. I like to know that my mother met somebody that was a slave. She touched his wounds where he was beaten as a slave. He was a friend of my grandfather's, and he was 100 years old and still living. And my mother got to talk to somebody that was in bondage. We need to know that. We need to know that. We need to not forget where we came from. And I like Black History Month, but I remember my mother telling me when they called it Negro Week. And she said when they made it a month, she wasn't even impressed by that, because we were so much more than that. And we're more than just 28 days or how many days are in February. We are, but the thing is, celebrate Black History Month talking to our elders, going to meetings such as NAN, joining a meeting such as NAN, because guess what? All that knowledge that they're pouring out and still fighting for us, even though we don't appreciate it, they're still doing it because they believe in our future, and they're fighting for you, and they need someone to pass that torch. We got Reverend Charles Williams. He's a young man, and when we get into a point, and I always believed in the old school way. That's why I impose myself on helping people that are younger than me. I want, because as old folks, we have to pick that one. We got to lift that person up to greatness. And sometimes it may not be appreciated, sometimes it does. But what the most part is, we have to infuse our youth. We have things such as, and this is more than just and poetry contest. It's to infuse the youth. It's to encourage Black businesses. But we need to get involved, not just with Black History Month, forever. And we don't have to choose a side, but we need to choose our own people first. We always want outsiders in. We want to do this. We want to include them. They come to events and see our Blackness and our greatness, and that's fine. But once you want to try to be in the mix, no. This is for us. We have to have something for our own for once. We have to celebrate us. It's okay for um, white people to come in and celebrate our culture. They've been celebrating our culture forever. Actually, they've been stealing and raping it as well. And then there's things I can get. I went to an organization where I won contests. They got that, what I was trying to do, which a lot of people don't. That I want to open up a Black store that's 100% Black owned products. It's needed. It doesn't mean I hate white people. It just means that we need to have something of our own, and we need to be proud. I want y'all to stick y'all chest out and be proud to understand where we came from. We created the wheel, we created language. Hell, we created civilization, if you want to go a step further. Now, I've been posting this poetry event, and I've been getting racist comments because it's been advertised. I've been called a monkey, and nobody wants to be like you, and stuff like that. This hate is still existing in 2023. And our young people, y'all don't understand the magnitude of this racism and even how to handle it, where our elders went through it so bad they fought for it to be a little bit easier, but it's still not the freedom is still yet to be gone. Now I'm going to add again, my dad is 79 years old. This happened when he was about 8 or 10. We haven't even went into a century, and we're still experiencing the same things that has happened to that my parents fought for, that they went through. We're still fighting that. We must create a bridge for our young people, and we must infuse them and teach them not just the arts, but the way of life. We need to teach them business. Any chance I get, I talk to young people and I see something great about them. I'll be like, don't you want to try to start a business on that? We have to give them our knowledge. We can't die with all of this in us. We can't die without passing our knowledge or our skills. There's too many of our people dying in office and don't have a successor. Or you got a successor that's damn near just as old as your ass. How is that passing a legacy? I shout out to many leaders such as Mary Waters, Councilwoman Mary Waters, for passing legacy and teaching our youth to infuse, but still keeping that bridge to talk to our elders. I see that a lot about her. Some people may not notice. I notice a lot of things I may not talk about, but I know that's one city councilwoman in the city of Detroit that does what she says she gonna do, and that act of it, you know. So shout out to her, you know. And it may be so many others that may be on the board, on the city council that may. I haven't seen it. I've only seen people give out bikes, and stuff like that. And maybe I'm not looking right. I can't be right about everybody, but I know this, and this is certain. We have to create that bridge. We have to teach them what we know, what we went through, and where we're going. Because when we gone, we can't teach them nothing. That's why I tell you guys, get your family recipes. Learn your family knowledge. Learn your family history. My daughter just found out, did a she did some research on my dad's family. I know more about my mother's family than my father's. However, never knew my dad's father's family, and they family they had a plantation. They were enslaved in a plantation in South Carolina, and a lot of interesting things. My father never knew his father. My daddy's father took care of him, but never had a relationship with him, which brought out a lot of interesting things. But if my daughter didn't do the research, we would never know that. If I didn't give the knowledge of the Lockett legacy, my daughter would know what our family is. My daughter would not know that I'm one generation over slavery. One, my great grandfather was a slave who ran away, bust up, later found his siblings and got them together, you know. So it's things that we know. We are more than just slavery though. But how will we know that if we don't share that to our youth? How will we know? Because in the next 50 years, Martin Luther King's going to be white. They're going to depict him as white. They always, when his birthday comes up, they want to do the I Have a Dream. He had more speeches than ever. That one of them that got him killed. One of them, I'm going to repeat that. One of them got him killed, and it wasn't I Have a Dream. They got word that this man was going to do another boycott. And if he do a boycott, he was the only person still to this day that had a successful boycott. We can't boycott nothing. We can't boycott nothing because y'all got to figure out who's the head Negro in charge. Y'all got to figure out, oh, they treat me well. I'm not going to do it. It should take one person. And actually, when they had the boycott, they got tired of being mistreated and they're paying their bus fare. Yeah, you don't ride the bus no more, so it may not apply to you. But during that time, that was a vital transportation for Black folks to get to work or get where they're going. And in some instances, as my dad said, they didn't allow Black folks on the bus in West Virginia. My parents are from Fairmont and Clarksburg, West Virginia. And he remembers a time where his uncle had to walk 7 miles, and he bought him a Christmas gift. And he put that pool table on his back and walked 7 miles. Y'all ain't never experienced that. I haven't experienced that in my time. But then you want to spit on the people that had made sacrifices to allow you to do what you're doing, even being on this social media. It was so much racism that they didn't allow you to go to. You take for granted that people had to sacrifice. You wouldn't have been able to go to the mall. You wouldn't be able to wander around like you do and go anywhere you want. And to a certain extent, you can without being profiled. You be they because the KKK done upgraded. They got suits now. They got uniforms now. They always had the police uniform. If you do your history, shout out to Michael Hotep because I used to follow him a lot. I don't get to watch as I used to, but he gave a lot of knowledge. The police used to be the original slave catchers, and they evolved into the police, and they continue to harass us up to this day in modern times. So I am going to be doing a poetry contest. It is April 24th. It's for ages 5 to 19. It's going to be two categories because I don't want kids going up with teenagers. So from 5 to 12, there'll be a category for them. And then 12 to 19, it'll be a category for them. First prize for each category is $100. Second prize, the same thing. I mean, for $50. And the third prize is 25. And then we'll have, of course, we're going to have Black-owned businesses. We'll have food. We'll have entertainment. And we're also looking for contestants. If you know a kid, they don't have to be a pro. They don't have to be well versed. Because remember, rap is poetry. But it must be Black history inspired. It has to have some point of Black history. So we want to infuse the youth as much as we can, as long as we're on earth. I put a post on to ask people, when you leave this earth, what do you want your imprint to be? What do you want people to remember you by? What do you think your life should be full of? What do you want them to say? A few years ago, I went to a funeral, and all they could say is that they were a good parent, and there's nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it. But they never focused on the accomplishments. It may not have been a lot of accomplishments, but it was something. I raised kids that was not my own. Um, I treated them like they were my children. I saved a woman's life because she was being beat on the street, and I saw a man beating her, so I intervened. They didn't speak about that, and at the time, I didn't either. But I remember him picking up a homeless man and taking him to go get something to eat. Those little things was big though, but none of that was mentioned. What do you want? You got to ask yourself as we're getting older in this time, what do you want your life to look like? What do you want your imprint on this world to be? Because we only got one life. Do you want it to reflect the accomplishments of doing right, or do you want your life to have accomplishments of doing wrong? We have to figure that out. And we can't keep talking to you some kind of way. Because some of your youth, if you were to die tomorrow, how would they live? Would they know how to pay a utility bill? Would they know how to cook for themselves? Would they, if you got sick, would they be able to take care of you? Would they even know what you want? We have to put these things in place. And Black folks, I'm tired of a GoFundMe. We need to get in life insurance. We need to talk to our kids. I know it's hard to talk about death, but we do. It's a way of life. I know firsthand. But we can't give up on our youth. And our elders have not given up on our youth. It's the youth giving up on yourselves. You like to be dummied down. And yes, we're looking inside, but will enlighten us. It has to be an exchange of knowledge. Some of the young people can teach you something, elders. We can't always be set in their ways. And I remember when I was younger, I was part of an organization and I got frustrated. And I just went on and lived my life. I used to go to city council meetings as a young woman. And first time I ever went to a city council, it impacted my life. I got to see Joanne Watson, the late great Joanne Watson, run a run a city council meeting. I was so impressed. Oh my God. I used to hear her on the radio growing up, and just to hear her and finally see her and speak to her, it was amazing. My just like what they say, public enemy. Most of my People that inspired me that aren't on the stamp, that's the same for me. But I remember her trying to get African Town and how that ended up not coming to pass. And thinking about really so much how they're going to be trying to bring back the black bottom, but I don't think the black bottom is going to be the black bottom. I think it's going to be gentrified. One wise person, Mildred Gaddis, always said, you got to teach people how to treat you. And we have not mastered that. We let people walk over us. We let people they feel they should do to us. And we got to stop that. We got to get in a mind of handling our business and fighting for what's right. We have some wonderful advocates in our community. We got Hydrate Detroit. We have New Era Detroit. We had Detroit means business, Black Leaders Detroit. We have some wonderful organizations out here that are doing awesome work. We need to be a member. We need to join, try to volunteer, do what we can. Not wait till we can't walk or barely talk to not do anything. We have, and even if you're in a wheelchair or anything, we have so much knowledge to give. We got to have the young people listening. And we got to have our, sometimes when we were kids, my dad took us to places he didn't ask us. That's y'all problem. Y'all like to ask kids what they want to do. No, I thank God that my dad made us go to places, made us aware of stuff. Some places he didn't understand. He took us to the Shrine of the Black Madonna. He didn't understand the Shrine of the Black Madonna. And it actually stuck with me. It may not stuck so much to my sisters, but they still had that mentality. Um, I would say Black power mentality. It wasn't that they would go out in the community and do stuff, but they were always a force. They were family oriented, and that was their number one thing. I was more wanted to be in the community, and for a minute, I became a mom, and I gave up on it because the old people wasn't trying to hear me, and I got frustrated with y'all. I walked away, but going to that NAN meeting made me think of the Shrine of the Black Madonna, how they had the classes and they were teaching the youth and stuff. We need to bring that back. We need to infuse the youth. I used to do a tour a few years ago called the Black Squirrel Tour I mean, not Black Squirrel Tour. I did a event where I got the Black Squirrel Tour. Shout out to Jamon Jordan. He has wonderful, and he probably is going to be doing a lot for Black History Month, but he does it all year. But him taking on a tour, not just of the city, the Detroit Institute of Arts, giving you information on history, some things you don't know, especially in the city of Detroit. It will have you, and I encourage you guys to go to Black Squirrel Tours at least sometime in your life. It will just change you. But we need to have stuff like that all year round, not just for this month, all year round, not just for Juneteenth, all year round. And we wouldn't be going through the things like now. I just saw on the news how this in Boston, this rec center that they were trying to get remodeled and upgraded for the community, they took it away and opened it up to migrants, immigration, illegal aliens. And that really kind of burns my head because we were brought here, not voluntarily, not illegally, but by force. We were forced to build this country. And y'all still to this day will not give us reparation. You still will not atone for what you did to our people. And I fought our people to a certain degree because y'all won't come together to fight for what's right. Y'all argue over this all the time. The city council is still arguing over reparation. Why should that be an issue? We know what y'all did, and we know what y'all did to these people in the city of Detroit, what you did to the people of Hastings Street, Black Bottom, the I-75 project, where you just totally wiped out a whole damn community. We got to get our minds right. And this Black history, focus on being unified. Focus on infusing our youth because we're not guaranteed to be here. We're not guaranteed. We're not promised to be here. You got to think of what you did. What did you do to your last breath? What did you do to impact our community and our youth? We really have to think about that. And what steps are you doing to make it better? Because it's not too late until you take your last breath. But you don't want to wait and be to the point where you physically can't move around and say, hey, I want to do this. We should always be infused with the black purpose. It's okay to have outsiders if y'all want to. That's fine. I'm not saying be racist. I'm saying support your own first. Family first. Whether you like it or not, all of us are connected somehow. Black people are connected, but we hate so much on one another that we don't think of the ultimate goal. Yes, I have issues. I have enemies too. But my mindset is strictly for black people, black everything. And some people say I acted too black. I've never heard of such a thing. Do you tell white people they too white? We really got to get it together, get our minds together. But I was so excited with Nan. I wasn't expecting to sell the big black book out like I was. I was just talking about it, and I mean, they was coming to my car for the extra copies and everything. I thank Sam Riddle for inviting me. It was a wonderful experience. I think everyone should go visit Dan. They have it at the historic King Solomon Hall, and that is on 14th Street, right off West Grand Boulevard, right down from Henry Ford Hospital. And there's a lot of historic places there. You got the Mama Akua house, which is a wonderful place to visit. Um, Bunky Shakur has a house too down there, but I know he's partnered with Mama Akua as well. So there's a lot of historic things. It's not just Motown, y'all. Yeah, it's Motown, and we are people. We never gotta. We are the underdogs. Black folks are the underdogs. And one thing I love is an underdog. I like you to think I am down and out, and before you see it, here I come. I've always been for the underdog, whether it's me or anybody else. And black folks have been an underdog too long. Just like the Detroit Lions was the underdog dog too long. And some of y'all mad at them. Yes, I'm disappointed, but guess what? It was a team like the Pistons, who in '88 had to go against the Celtics and they lost the first year. They were a good team. The second year they came back and pushed past the Celtics. The next one was the Lakers. And they lost from the Lakers, and then a year later they won. And they didn't just win once, they won back to back for 2 years. Don't count them out. Don't count them out. People gonna make mistakes. They're a young team. That's us. But we have to infuse our young people. We have to give them the knowledge. We need to tell them our history. We need to pass these recipes, these knowledge, everything. Recipes, not just for food, for life. What do you want your imprint to be on your life? What do you want people to say about you when you go on? I went to Brenda Hill's funeral. It was so many people. So many people had so much to say about the sister. She get you together. She will get you together. I loved her. She call a spade or whatever, whether it's you or anybody, she check you. She don't discriminate. And she wasn't playing. And I miss seeing her. Even if I didn't get to see her in person all the time, I got to see her on her show and her spit her tell it like it is. I just miss that energy, and that was a big shock. So, but I don't want to. I want to be around my elders as much as I can, and I had some reach out to me to help me with the next issue. If you are a black business that has a transportation, a hotel, restaurants, shopping, events. If you're having events during that weekend, I want you guys to be in the big black book shopping entertainment guide, because there's over 90, what did my husband say? 90 million people coming, maybe. Um, it's a lot. And we're the blackest city. So we need to represent. And we need all those people to shop black and think black. And you know about 85 to 90% of them are going to be black. 80, 90% going to be in the draft. So they need to be going to a 313. They need to be going to Floods. They need to be going to Hotel St. Regis. They need to think shop black. Yeah, we want them to go to Motown because that's black. We want all hands on deck. So we want to capitalize with, and I'm creating an entertainment guide just for this because we need to have the visitors anytime, not just the draft, to have a guide of black businesses. I used to be a driver, and I noticed that a lot of people wanted to know where black businesses are. I used to actually send them my link of the listing of black owned businesses to go to. And we need to get in the habit of that. So, with that said, you guys can go to blackeconomic.net, order the Big Black Book online. I don't have too many any more booklets left. So, if you're doing it is available online. So, you can go online to blackeconomic.net. If you would like to be a contestant, if you know a youth that would like to be a contestant from the Black Like Me contest, that is going to be February 24th at Detroit SIP, 7420 West McNichols. You want to contact me at 586-698-7923. You also can go to contact us on blackeconomic.net and reach out to me that way. And I can get that information. I'm pretty much full on vendors. I didn't have to put out a shout out to vendors. I only needed a dessert vendor and I'm done. So all my vendors are spoken for. I just need more contestants. I like the more the youth. It will be a open mic for adults, but again, has to be Black History related. The adults are not going to be in the contest, but you can come out and share some information, spit something to the youth. I am looking for 2 judges for the event. If you are a poet, I'm going to reach out to a couple of them, but I'm looking for 2 judges to judge the youth, and I need experienced poets. So if you are interested, definitely hit me up at 586-698-7923. Happy Black History Month, even though it's 365 Black. But to those that got to put on a dashiki during Black History Month, do so, but try to do it all year. Peace and love, family. Gotta go. Have a good day.